Welcome to my channel today. This is the Wendy in Neverland channel. Today is August 9th, 2021. Wow, summer's flying by, isn't it? It's been a little over a month since I did the last video. I am outside. The wind does blow once in a while, so hopefully it won't mess with the microphone and make too much noise. If it seems like it's really a blustery breeze is blowing through for a minute, then I will probably pause it, and that way you won't have to listen to that. Yeah, there was a lot going on, and I kind of have been doing the videos about the beginning of the month, but I just got back from a camping trip, and so I wanted to wait until after that was done before I did the video. Way too much was going on before I left, so there was just no way to try and squeeze that in. No, not at all. So I am going to try to, I would like, I always have grand notions of doing things, and then it's like I forget, or I just don't end up doing it, of kind of interspersing my stitching with other topics. So I'm not just cramming everything, all the stitching in one spot. It kind of spreads it out throughout the video, as well as talking about things that happened in the last month. So let's go for a ride. All right, the first thing, let's talk about, because this has happened pretty close to the last time I made the video, is that I moved, or my husband and I, we moved his mother to a new facility where she's going to be living now. She was in, and just, it was all independent living type facility where they provide all their meals and everything for them. They have their own apartment kind of thing. But if you've been following along, you know she's got more cognitive problems now. She has officially been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So it's not so bad that she can't function and do things that she needs to do with maybe just a little bit of help. So she's at a facility where she's in the assisted living section. They do have a memory care area, and so when she gets to the point where she is not able to take care of herself and do things she needs to do, then we can move her over there very easily, and it hopefully won't be as bad on her as moving a completely new place. So she seems to be settling in. We were a little concerned because the way that you heat and cool the room is through the same type of system we have, which is a ductless heat pump. So it's got one of those units that sit up on the wall and blows out the air for you. Cold air, warm air, whichever you want. But the control panel is an electronic control panel with a lot of buttons on it. We weren't sure she was going to be able to get that system down. It seemed very easy to us, such as there was a red button that was like an arrow pointing up, and you would think you push that part on this circle section and that would warm up the room, and a blue arrow pointing down at the bottom of the circle, that would seem to, you would think that's going to give you cooler air. If you just wanted it off, that was another matter altogether. That was a little bit different in what you were going to have to push. And there were quite a few times where she would call us and say she was cold or she was too hot or whatever, and we would try to walk her through the buttons, and it seems like she's caught on to that. So that was a big hurdle right there. I think she might know where the dining room is and go down. We do have the caregivers going in to remind her to eat lunch and dinner, because there's a lot of times where it seemed like she wasn't eating at the other place, and we don't know if she just didn't realize what time it was, it seemed like she knew where to go. That wasn't a problem, but being in a new facility and everything, so we were having them come and remind her, but also having them walk her down there so she knew where to go, so she wasn't feeling like she was getting lost. So she seems to be adapting well. Things are going well. you know, we know that the time is coming where she will have to move into memory care, though. You can just see it every time you're with her. So, sad, but it's kind of part of our lives now, isn't it? When we have parents that age, and more and more of them seem to have these kinds of issues. So, unfortunately. One other quick little note, I think I mentioned this last time, is that I will not have any new bags to show you today because July was so busy, and then getting ready for the camping stuff, there was just no way that I was going to have some. So maybe we'll be showing you some in the next month. And actually, maybe not a lot, because if I go back to trying to get into filming at the beginning of the month, this will be a short month in a sense. It'll be more like 3 weeks when I come back and do another video. So now that's the way it is. So let me, since I was wanting to try to do this, hopefully the sun isn't going to play shadowy messes with me, show you one of my stitching projects. I did not do as many projects, and I think I also didn't really do as much stitching. And it's like you look back and it's like, it's been actually more than a month. Why didn't I get much done? And I kind of did, but I think it's just everything that's going on. It was way too busy. Like I said, with the moving of my mother-in-law, that took up time and energy for sure. And the camping stuff, it sucks up your time, as well as my yard work. So I just ended up not doing as much, it seems like. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the first one. And this is part of, and you may have seen other people's stuff that they've shown. I'm trying to keep all my stuff from flying away from the wind. You may have seen the progress of what some other people have done, and for the most part, all of ours is going to look very similar. Some people may have changed their colors a little bit. They may have done it on slightly different fabric or whatever, but for the most part, whatever you've seen before is probably what you're going to see here. So the Stitching Book Club is doing Little Women right now. So that is what we've done. So let me show you. And there is our stitching project. Lovely, lovely. It's so pretty. It's very bright, so it's colors I probably wouldn't normally use, but you know, it is what it is. So very interesting. As you can see, there's not a lot left at the bottom, maybe a little bit. She told us to start down about, I don't know, 3 inches from the top, I think. And there's not much more than that at the bottom. So I'm not sure. We still have one more step, one more session to get through reading the book, as well as another piece of the chart. And I'm not entirely sure what we're going to add, because there's not a lot of room on the sides or at the bottom. So it'll be interesting to see what we end up doing to finish that off, because the finishing instructions usually are totally separate from all of the different sections that we do. She'll usually provide that after everything's all done, all stitched, and all of our discussions are done. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think we're supposed to do The Great Gatsby next. That may be a couple months down the road before we really start getting into that. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to quickly talk about some work I've done around here, because it's a lot, and it's going to be a lot. There's a lot that's going to happen in the next month. We have a downspout by our back door, our steps, and it likes to form a lake, or a small lake, pond, whatever you want to call it, right there where that downspout hits. And it's, by the driveway as well. So you have to put on your waders and go through the lake just about. And I'm kind of joking, it's not that bad, but it's still enough. You're going to get pretty wet if you have to walk through it. So we're kind of circumnavigating around it the best we can. So I have been wanting for years to put in something so that we can avoid this problem. So I put in a drainage pipe. So there's a large big square catch basin, and then it's got a pipe that comes out of it, and I didn't bury it very deep because I didn't want to have to go that deep. Plus, where it ends, I really wanted it to be able to drain out into the field behind us, which, I mean, they're getting basically free water, so it shouldn't matter that much. So I dug fairly shallow. I don't think I ever went below 12 inches. So I dug from where I made the catch basin all the way, and it runs right in front of our shed, and our shed does not have gutters on it. So I made that section into what would be called a French drain, and the piping has holes in it, and I have gravel all the way around the pipe, and then all the way up to the surface, because all the rest of the drain is just covered in dirt. It's just buried. But that part has the gravel on it, and so when it rains, and there's like plastic underneath the gravel so it doesn't soak into the ground. When it rains and drips off of the shed, it catches in that, and then it goes through the holes in the drain, and it continues on down with the rest of the water. So we will see how that part works. I did test it because you put all this work into it, and it's pretty long. I think I measured it like 48 feet long from where the catch basin is to where it drains out. So it's a long section, and you want it to work when you put in that much effort. So I stuck the hose in the catch basin and let it run and run until I saw it come out the other end. I'm very happy that it was actually working. So did that. That took up some time. Also got, and I'm going to try and get a video of it, and I can possibly insert, if I have a video of the drainage thing, I will show you kind of what that looks like. But these giant flat rocks, and they are heavy, that I'm going to use as kind of steps to get into our shed, because our shed sits up a little bit high with all the support underneath it. So I got these stones because I wanted something nice. I didn't want to put more wood there. And so I got two of them. One will be flat on the ground, level with the ground, and then the other one will be a little bit higher to get in, make it a little easier to get in. So I think all told, both of those weighed 200 pounds. So the big one had to be over 100 pounds at least, and having my husband help me get out of the car was interesting. There was a Herculean man who lifted that thing and put it into my little Fiat, so that it got in my car, but then once we got home, I had to get it out, and so he had to come and help me get it out, and he was kind of dying. So yeah, between that, the drainage ditch, taking care of normal things like the flowers and watering the yard and stuff, then it's been keeping me busy out here. There's other little projects too. All right, goes from here all the way down to that fence. Yep, all the way. So here are the giant slabs. I'll put my foot up here for reference. It's pretty good size, as well as the thickness of it. It's pretty thick. So this is the smaller piece. This is the one on top of it is the one that weighs quite a bit. So that'll be cool when I get it in there. I have realized I have not worked on my hay very much. In fact, I didn't work on it this month at all. And I think last month I didn't work on it a lot. And I think I've kind of figured out why. It's a lot of times I will water in the evenings after the main heat of the day has gone. And, I have to get up to move the sprinkler in order to get all of the yard. And that means I'm getting up a lot. Up and down and up and down. And this is the time when I'm probably going to be doing my stitching. So that means you got this giant frame that has my stitching on my lap, as well as everything else around me, and probably a blanket on my legs because my husband likes our house cold, and even when you just sit for a while, it gets cold pretty quickly. So you have to move all that stuff repetitively, constantly, when you're getting up to change the sprinkler all the time. It's not really what I want to do. If I'm going to sit and work on my head, it's like I want to sit and I don't want to have to move while I'm working on it, because it's bad enough having to change the threads all the time because the confetti in it. I don't want to do it because I have to get up and go water. So that's, I think I figured out why I haven't worked on my head very much. All right, let's do another stitching project. This is one that I did while we were camping, which I will get into shortly. I did not get a lot of progress on it because, you sit and think, well, I'm going to have some downtime while I'm camping. I'll just sit around and not do a whole lot. But chances are I don't have my stitching with me, or it was just, I just didn't feel like getting it out. It was kind of drizzly or something. I just didn't want to have to mess with getting it out. So I didn't do as much. Now, I had not started this, so the progress you're going to see was stuff I did the whole time I was there. So I'm doing this, those painted pumpkin kits that by Mill Hill. They're so cute. I have 2 of them. I wanted a third one, but it wasn't available. Nobody had it at that time. So this is how far I've gotten. I'll put this behind it. This is how far I got. So not a ton, but a little bit. I got a little bit done. So fun stuff. If you haven't worked on these are great little kits to take for little travel things like this. And I wanted something that wasn't super nice when I'm going camping. So this would be the best project for that. Okay, the next thing going on around here. Last weekend was the air show. Many, many, many years they did it out in Hillsboro, which is about 45 minutes north of us. Last year and this year, they had it out here in McMinnville, and the airport for that is 5 miles due west. Well, kind of southwest, but directly that direction. I mean, the airport almost lines up that way. So they've been having it out here. It's very loud at times. There are some times where they do a lot of the stuff right over the airport, and we don't see it or hear it so much, but especially that last hour of it, wow, it gets loud out here. So it's pretty expensive to go and watch it. I mean, we're talking anywhere from $300 to $150 to go. And that's just for one day. But we've noticed, and I noticed it more last year because I was home a lot more last year, that I could just go out in my yard and watch the jets roar overhead. And it was almost as good as watching it for free, not having to pay and go sit there. So because we knew that was happening, I sat out in my yard this time and watched them and videotaped them. And then we invited our friends to come over on Sunday and watch the show again. It was a slightly different. It was definitely different. So if you think if you live around here and you think, oh, I'm just going to watch the exact same show every single day, it's not. It is definitely not the same. On Saturday, they had much more of like the newer fighter jets. And on Sunday, it seemed like they were slightly older jets. They did not do the same thing all the time. The newer jets are much louder. Much louder. So I'm going to show you a little bit of videos. They're quick little segments because they fly fast. But I will show you some of those, and you can see what we could kind of see and hear what we could hear. So I'll put that in here. wasn't that fun. So I warned you, it was loud. It was loud. I think I'm going to talk about the camping trip that we did, or I did. If you haven't been watching me, I go by myself because my family does not like to go anymore. It was a church group. We all had our own sites, and it was at this really big campground. It's called Fort Stevens. It's in, I don't know what town it's actually in. There's a town called Warrenton and Hammond that are just south of Astoria. And the park, the Fort Stevens, it's a park as well as the campground part, it encompasses the whole tip of Oregon. That northwest tip goes right up to where the jetty is. So it's all in that area. Yeah, so I go by myself, have a great time, enjoy it immensely. I'm going to put quickly a video of me getting there and the setup I have. I'll put that in right now. So I made it to my camping spot. Here's my little refrigerator. Isn't it cute? Cooking my steak. And over there on the fire, I'm cooking my potatoes and onions and mushrooms. This is my traditional first night camping fare. Not so much camping fare, it seems like. But yes, I've got a lovely thing to look at that will hide the afternoon sun from coming in on our area. And I can't do without my coffee and blender stuff. That'll be good. Got some lovely lights around the top. And there is my tent. It does attach to the canopy. It sleeps like one person. So I'll come over here. You can see it's just wide enough for a bed and a little extra room to stand. And it is tall enough for me to stand in it. So as you can see, that's the top of it. And I can stand inside here and get dressed and do whatever I'm going to do. So in preparation for going camping, I found this thing that I had not seen before. I was at the fabric store, the quilt store, and just looking around, and they had some patterns as well as some kits. And then I found out after I was paying for it that they had a display of one of these, and it spoke to me, so I had to get it. And it is this. So hopefully there's not too much of a glare going on. These are camping journals. So this is the wool applique, felt applique, whatever. I mean, it was pretty much felt, so it wasn't wool. But you make your own little journal cover, and I thought that was a great idea because I have camped for years and years and years. Probably a good over 20 years we've been camping. In fact, more than that, because my husband and I actually did stuff when we were first married, when we lived out here. So I did a little bit as a child with my dad, and then basically since I've been married, it's almost every year. So that's more like 30. So I've done it a lot, and I have kind of done where I would write some, like if we had a really busy summer, I might write down some stuff about all the things that we did, including some of the camping stuff. So it wasn't necessarily just a camping journal. But I saw this, I'm like, that's a really, really good idea. And I can remember from year to year what kind of, how the trip went, where I went, all that kind of stuff. So I got this. This is just the pattern part of it. And then next to it, they had another envelope, another plastic bag kind of thing, with a kit in it. So it had all the fabric, the felt stuff, as well as the floss to make, depending on what you're going to do. So it had the background stuff, the stuff that you wrap around the whole book. They had one of those. And then they had some trees, the tree parts. They had trees, and then the trunks. I'm trying to remember how many they had. I think 6 of them. and then a whole bunch of other smaller pieces of felt in different colors for you to cut the rest of the stuff out, depending on which one you want, because you can see they're all different. They're all different. Oh, they did have 2 mountains and 2 snowy peak pieces as well. So those were the parts that were already cut out. The rest of it was up to you to decide which pattern you wanted, and then you're going to have to cut those pieces out. So first off, I didn't want one this size. This one's kind of, I mean, it's probably 4x6 and possibly a 4x6. I'm trying to see if it shows you, if it tells. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think it was more of a 4x6. No, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and read this and try and figure it out. I wanted something bigger, nevertheless. So I got my journal first, so I knew what size I was going to get. And then I went and got the background fabric. And I think I think that was it, because I did have some other felt at my house for other projects. And I was able to use that for a couple of things that I was going to change up as well. So part of the reason I wanted it bigger was because I wanted more room to write in it, but I wanted to be able to have more on here, to see more. So not only do I want to see more, but I wanted to do more than what they did in the fact that I put stuff on the back. I didn't want just the front. Oh no. Oh no. And I did a little bit more than that as well. So let me show you what I ended up making. There we go. So they didn't really have a lake. They had a stream in one of their options. So we've got that, and then it wraps around, and we've got that going on. I considered putting the title, because on some of these you've got, and it gives you the option inside where you can put like a little title thing on there that says Mountain Journal. There's Camp Log. There's a couple other options as well. And I thought about that, and I could probably still go back and add that up here if I wanted to, but I haven't so far. So I've got my bald eagle. I put the moon here because I really, really love looking at the stars and seeing the moon. So I wanted to remember that. And sometimes you see the moon when it's daytime anyway. I got my fish in my lake, campfire, my tent, trees. The back part has a deer, little deer, an owl. I think he's got, yeah, we got a cloud in there. And then, as I mentioned, I put stuff on the inside. So I wrap my lake around and put another fish. And for the back part, I wrap this around and put a couple more flowers in there. I love this. So this is what I counted as part of my stitching time. It took a little while to get this done. So yeah, that was fun. Now, I'm going to read something out of there in a minute, but I want to make sure it kind of seems appropriate. So I was there for 5 days and 4 nights. It's a little longer than we originally had it planned, but that's kind of how it came. It just ended up being. It was misty and drizzly a lot this time. We had one day that was just like this, full sun, not hot. It wasn't hot there at all. So we had a nice day that was all sun. There was a second day that the sun peeked out in the afternoon, a little earlier than I thought. I thought it wasn't supposed to get sunny until like 5, and it was closer to 3-ish, I think. And then it was clear until later in the night, like in the wee hours of the next day. So that's kind of how the weather was treating us. It was kind of drizzly. I mean, we still kind of did stuff, but it was just kind of hard to get your motivation to go do stuff when it's wet. So yeah, there's all those things. Now, this year, I bought myself a little mini fridge because I am really tired of dealing with coolers where you have to continuously change the ice and trying to keep your food good and all that. Yeah, well, my children had something to say about that. So I am going to quickly read what I wrote down about that because it just sums it all up, and then I don't forget what I was going to say. Okay. I gotta find it real quick because I know where it's at approximately. Okay. I need to draw attention to a crisis that happened. With all of the past camping trips I have had, one of the things that I like the least is the cooler. Depending on the quality of said cooler, your ice does not have an infinite lifespan. In fact, it has a rather short one. This requires frequent replenishing, not to mention that it doesn't always do its job. Your cooler quality matters. Okay. Many a time I've had to throw away food, especially meat, that goes bad. There is also the problem with critters, especially raccoons. They will get into your cooler. Don't be fooled. They will. Unless you might have something heavy on it, like, say, a bike rack. It's pretty heavy. With all this in mind, I made the fateful decision to get a mini fridge for camping. My children were aghast and claimed they were going to need therapy. All because they insist that they were traumatized as children by being told that there were no electronics at camping. This was probably true for two reasons. Many times we didn't even have the option to plug anything in. Okay. Nowadays, almost every site is going to have electricity. Not so much when my kids were little. And two, it wasn't a time to sit and play video games, which were electronics. So, children, go to therapy. Tell them what a terrible mother you had that took you camping and made you enjoy the great outdoors. I dare you. So yes, my children had quite a bit to say about my mini fridge, and all because they didn't get to have their electronics when we went camping. Not that they had a ton when they were really little, but anyway. So I am going to insert a few videos of some of the things that happened. So things like a little bit of kayaking, some animals, etc. I'm going to put those in, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about something else I did. Out on the lake again. So pretty. So pretty. And this is the quiet end that nobody really comes to because you can't get to it by a beach or anything. So you have to be able to paddle down here. But it's so nice. So nice. Readjusted because I think the sun was starting to creep around the tree a little bit. A couple of things that I did or that happened while I was camping. The first night, of course, you pack your car, you drive there, you unpack everything, you have to set it all up. Makes for a very sweaty person. So that first night, I decided to go take a shower. Thankfully, the showers were open this year. So I got in there. There's not a lot of places to put things. So you have a stool that is welded to the floor, so it can't be moved. There is a shelf that is about this big, way up high, just above my height, and a hook on the door. And they have a little chamber where this stuff is at, and then you go through, it's just an open doorway right there. That's the shower part. the floor gets wet, even in the little area, what we call the dressing area. The floor gets wet in that part. So you have to be careful about how you're going to put things and where you're going to put them so they don't get all wet and gross, and it's got dirt on the floor as well because you're tracking that in with your shoes, which turns to mud. So I was putting what I could on the little stool, as well as some stuff on that shelf, hanging my clothes, wherever I could put things. You might hear little kids playing over here. As well as my glasses. I put those up on the shelf. I didn't have anywhere else to put them, really. I mean, now that I think about it, this is the first time I thought about this. I probably could have put them in my coat pocket that I had with me. I think I had my coat with me. Anyway, so I put them up there. So I get all my shower stuff done. I am trying to get dried off, trying to stay as clean as possible because of the floor and whatnot. And somehow my glasses get knocked off. And horrifyingly, by the time you realize what's happening, you can't reach down and grab them because they're out of reach. And it hits the hard tile floor. And I watched the last part of it in horror, realizing what's about to happen. Like, oh no. So one of my lenses popped out and this comes off. Yeah. These are the only glasses I have with me camping. Yeah. Thankfully, I was able to pop this lens back in. So that helped. It's evening. There's nothing I can do. So I'm going to go into town and see if there's a store, an eyeglass, clinic, that they can look at this, see if they can do anything about it. And of course, I didn't have glasses on, so I couldn't see in depth what this end looked like where attached. So I go into town the next day. The one place that I went to, she was working alone because somebody, I think a doctor was on vacation and somebody else had called in. They couldn't come in or something. So she was all alone. She was busy with a customer. She's like, well, you could leave him here for, a couple, hour and a half. Maybe this afternoon I can get him to you. And I'm like, I have to see. I need these. I can't just leave these here. I mean, if it was going to be a short time and I could just walk around the store, fine. But I really do need them. So that's not going to work. There was supposed to be one other place in town, and I Googled it and I followed the directions that my phone was telling me to go, and it took me to nothing. I mean, literally, it was just trees and brush along the road. That wasn't it. So that was the only ones that I knew of or that I could find in this town. So what are my options? Well, let's go to Walmart and see if I can find an eyeglass kit. Okay, so I did. Thankfully, it was only a couple dollars. Didn't cost that much. And I get it back out to my car. And of course, I'm trying to do this without any other glasses on. And I'm realizing, from what I can tell, this does not take a screw. And that's what an eyeglass kit's going to have in it. It's a screw. This does not take a screw. This end, I don't know how much you can see of this. Let's see if I can set my glasses down. It's just got these holes and it hinges. So this has this hinge thing going on. It's like, I can't fix these. Not with that. Okay, well, I'll just wear my glasses like this. I've got one earpiece that will work. The only problem is as you're wearing them, they want to start doing this. They want to start, going up on the part that doesn't have the earpiece. These are progressive lenses. So if they're going to start adjusting, you're going to start seeing different down in this area. I think they were giving me a headache after, a day or whatever. I realized, maybe it's the glasses that are giving me a headache. I don't know. So if I had my sunglasses on, which go over the top of my glasses, I just do the sit on top of ones, it kept them in place much better. And I did need to wear my sunglasses quite a bit, so that helped. But then when I didn't need to wear them, then they were just driving me crazy. I think it was a whole nother day before I realized, you know what, I've got to do something, because I didn't need to wear my sunglasses as much the following day. It's like, I need to do something. This is just not going to happen. This is not going to work. And so I went back into town, same place. They actually had 2 people working. So I was able to talk with somebody. She's like, I can't fix those. I can't fix those. They're called silhouettes. And so she was not able to fix them. My clinic that I go to here in town that I got the glasses from are not open today. So I will call tomorrow and see if what they say is like, are these even fixable? And if they say yes, great. But if they say yes, it's going to cost a lot of money. I may have to just say, well, I won't have a second pair of glasses, unfortunately. The only thing, I mean, I just got these and I like them, but I haven't had the kind. These are the kind that's the whole frame, and it's the nose piece is just part of the frame, whereas these have the nose pieces here. They don't feel good. I don't really care for them. I've had them adjusted already once with them. And these, my old ones were like ultra light. They were so light, and my lenses make it kind of heavy, so it was nice having those. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen? So let's see here. So I showed you some pictures. There were elk that were those 2 elk were just on the side of the road as I was driving into town one of the times. Just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Another thing that I ended up doing, so I knew the forecast said that on Friday it was supposed to rain. So I didn't really just want to stay in town, or not in town, in camp, and try to figure out what I was going to do for the day when it's misty and yucky, and I'm by myself. I do go around and visit people, but there's only so much of that, and they're off doing things too, so not everybody's there. So I planned in advance, and I said to myself, I'm going to go into Astoria, and I'm going to go to antique shops. Perfect rainy day thing. So I did that. I went to a couple. There were 2 that were in Astoria. That was fun. I will put in a video of my treasures, because it's a little easier to show you on a video separate from this, some of the goodies that I got. So I'll put that in now. Because it was rainy and cloudy and yucky this morning, I went antique shopping in Astoria. And these are the goodies, or some of the goodies that I found. Very cute little cup pot kind of thing. I love these scissors. They are awesome. Some buttons, some old and pin cushions, wooden spools. Those are awesome. And then trivets. As we all know, trivets are a treasure. And this cool square basket. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The next thing that I did was, I still had some time. It was still overcast. I thought, I'm going to go up to something called the Astoria Column. So it's up on top of the hill, and it's this giant column that you can climb up the spiral stairs all the way to the top. I believe there's 164 steps. So that's a lot of steps to begin with. But when you think about the fact that it's high and there's not much under you, I have never climbed those steps before, because I don't like heights. So that was a challenge for me. I had to focus a lot on not thinking about not having anything around me, as well as not looking down, not looking up, all those things. So when I got to the top, I pretty much stayed really close to the column. The corners were the part where the railing was the farthest from you. If you were on actually the side, then you could almost reach out and touch the railing. It's not a very big area up there. I did not realize this until I was up there, but if you'd gone into the visitor gift center, just a small little building, you could buy these balsam planes. They were already made, and you could take it up there and throw it down from the top. That is really a neat idea. The planes were only $1. They weren't that much. And it was so cool to watch them just glide out and then eventually start spiraling all the way down to the ground, and just to see where they went. And most of the people that were doing it were adults. It was like they were little kids again. So I am going to put in some video as well now of the Astoria Column from the top. I believe I have some video of a guy who threw his airplane, kind of watching it spiral down a little bit, and then also from the ground looking at the column, because the column has, I believe they're paintings, they almost look like etchings, paintings that spiral all the way around the outside of it for images that happened in Oregon, especially the beginning of our statehood, as well as when Lewis and Clark were coming over and exploring. And so there's a lot of that kind of stuff on it. So I'm going to show you that real quick as well. Made it to the top. Oh yeah, I made it to the top. This is in Astoria. It's called the Astoria Column. That's the column. I will show you pictures of the pictures on the side of it when I get to the bottom, but it's a fabulous view. But I don't like heights, so I don't think I'm going to stay up here for very long.
That thing's going to find you for sure.
Could you imagine someone? So, did you put your forward wing all the way forward or back?
This one was in the middle.
Okay.
They told me to bring it all the way to the front. It
To
looks
the
better.
front?
It looks better that way.
Okay. I put the first.
Here's the outside of the column. It has images wrapped all the way around it, so it's all different all the way around, of different things that happened here in Oregon, as well as like the journey on the Oregon Trail, Lewis and Clark, all that kind of stuff. So there's just a lot there. It would take me a long time to go all the way around and show all the different parts, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'll try and zoom in a little bit so you can see some of it. There you go. All right, I have one more piece of stitching to show you. I hope you enjoyed the camping stuff and all the other things that I was showing you, Astoria and all that kind of stuff. And that is Halloween Squirrel by the Blue Flower. This isn't, a new pattern for most of you. You've seen it. I believe this is where a lot of my stitching went. Because there was so much going on as well, I didn't want to have to think about getting new stuff out and kind of changing up what I was going to be stitching. I kind of just got in this mindset of I need to just stitch on something, and I continued to stitch on it. So I got a lot of work on this one because I had not started this. This is a new start, and I got quite a bit done. So here it is. Very cute. Yes, that border is deceptively took a long time. Just a lot of little details going back and forth and up and down and all around, and it took a while. But yeah, I'm loving it. It's very cute. Very cute. As much as the squirrels were a pain at camping, and I don't really like seeing mice in the wild either, I love stitching these little guys. They are so cute. So yeah. So there's all the good stuff, all the fun stuff going on that I did this last month. Yeah, and hopefully, you know, I'll be doing a video here in about 3 weeks. It'll be closer to the 1st. Hopefully I'm going to get a lot more done around here as well. Not only this stuff, we're going to have another heat wave this week, so we'll see how much I'm going to be able to get done. But hopefully my yard stuff as well as stitching stuff. So I'll have a little more to show you. I think the journal and my Halloween squirrels just kind of monopolized my time, so I didn't have as much that I got done. But anyway, I hope you're having a good summer, and for those in the south hemisphere, that is, that you're having a nice winter. And it's not too crazy. I saw Patchy Pony Stitcher had posted a picture on Instagram that it looked like a nice day. I don't know how cold it was, but you know, at least there wasn't any frost and snow and stuff on the ground. But yeah, I hope you all are having a great time. That we're getting along, getting through our days, and not being too stressed out about things. I have to tell myself that all the time too. You don't need to be stressed out about stuff. It'll all work out. Not worrying about it. But yeah. So with that, I'm gonna let you go, and thank you for coming and watching. And it's like visiting with friends. This is how I think about it. I get to visit with my friends whenever I watch a video or whenever you watch mine. Yeah, nice little time with friends. So with that, I will see you in a few weeks. Bye.